Okay, so think about those times, when things don't quite go to plan. Like
Yeah.
you're totally sure you aced that exam, but you didn't. Or
Yeah.
that business idea you had that kind of fizzled out.
Right.
Or even a relationship that just ended out of the blue. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. We've all had those moments for sure.
And in those moments when you're just feeling disappointed, haven't you ever just felt like giving up?
It's so tempting, isn't it?
Totally. Like just walk away from the whole thing.
Yeah. It's a totally natural human response.
Yeah.
I think when we face these setbacks, we kind of just want to retreat
Right, exactly.
or just stop trying altogether.
It's like our instinct.
Yeah.
But what's really fascinating, what we're diving into today, is what happens next. It's that amazing human ability to not just get through the tough times, but to actually bounce back.
Yeah.
And often even stronger than before.
It's true.
And that's what we call resilience.
And I think it's so important to remember, especially when we look up to people who have, achieved some pretty incredible things, that their journeys are almost never smooth sailing.
Well,
you often find they've had to overcome massive hurdles.
For sure.
Things that, at the time probably felt like complete failures.
Yeah.
And I think what really sets them apart is this ability to recover and keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they come out having learned some pretty valuable lessons along the way.
So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's unpack this idea of resilience.
Okay.
What does it actually mean? Is it just about being tough?
I don't think so.
Or is there more to it?
I think it's definitely a bit more nuanced than just being tough.
Okay.
A really helpful way to think about resilience, I think, is it's your inherent ability to recover from difficult situations.
Okay.
So picture a rubber band, right?
All right.
You can stretch it, you can put pressure on it.
Yeah.
It might even feel like it's about to snap.
Right.
But the moment you release that pressure, it just goes back to its original shape.
Mm-hmm.
And resilience is kind of like that. It's that ability to, regain your footing.
Yeah.
Your balance after being stretched by, all these difficult things life throws at you.
I love the rubber band analogy.
That's a good one.
It makes it so visual, right?
Yeah.
It's not about pretending the strain wasn't there or that it didn't hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about acknowledging that it was tough.
Yeah.
Processing those emotions that come with, going through something difficult.
Yeah.
But ultimately, making a choice to not let that experience define you.
Right.
Or defeat you.
You're not letting it break you.
Exactly. It's about facing that reality head on and not giving into despair.
So this kind of brings us to a bit of a perspective shift,
Okay.
which I think can be really powerful.
Yeah.
And that's seeing failure not as the opposite of success, but as a step on the path to success.
I love that. Yeah.
Right.
It's like it's part of the journey.
It is.
And I think what's so interesting is that our culture often frames failure as something to be avoided at all costs.
Right.
Like it's a sign that you're inadequate or that you've done something wrong.
Like you're not good enough.
Yeah, exactly. But actually, if you look at the stories of people who have achieved incredible things, people who've made real change in the world,
Yeah.
you'll often see that their paths are littered with what looks like failure.
It's true.
And, there's some research in behavioral psychology that suggests that our brains are actually wired to learn more effectively from our mistakes than from our successes.
Oh, welly.
Yeah, it's called error-related negativity. And it's this thing where when we make a mistake, our brains kind of light up. And it actually helps us to make stronger adjustments and improvements next time around.
So it's like failure is actually a more efficient teacher.
In a way, yeah, it's pretty counterintuitive, isn't it?
Totally. And there are so many amazing examples of this.
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure.
Like J.K. Rowling,
Oh, yeah.
12 different publishers rejected Harry Potter
It's crazy.
before one finally said yes.
Can you imagine? 12, can you imagine the discouragement
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
with each rejection?
It would be so easy to just give up. Totally.
After the first one, even.
Right.
But to keep going 12 times.
That's resilience.
Exactly. And I think that's a huge part of why she's so successful today.
Yeah.
It's because she didn't give up.
She didn't let it define her.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what about Walt Disney?
Oh, yeah. What about him?
He was told he lacked imagination.
Oh, gosh. That's wild.
Isn't that ironic?
It's pretty unbelievable when you think about the worlds he created.
I know.
These incredible imaginative worlds that have captivated generations.
And so many of us grew up with.
I know, right?
It's crazy to think that someone told him he lacked imagination.
It really is. And I think, that kind of judgment early on in his career could have crushed him.
Yeah.
Made him doubt his vision.
Totally.
But clearly he had this deep well of resilience to keep pursuing his art despite that criticism.
So inspiring.
So inspiring.
And then there's Michael Jordan,
Oh, yeah.
arguably the greatest basketball player of all time.
Right.
He was cut from his high school basketball team.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, pretty major setback.
Yeah, for someone who, went on to achieve what he achieved.
Totally.
And I think it really highlights a crucial point, right? These people weren't, somehow immune to failure or criticism. They experienced it often quite intensely.
Yeah.
But what set them apart was their ability to not let those setbacks define them.
To not let it break them.
Exactly. They didn't let it extinguish their passion or their potential. And I think that's what led to their success.
Their resilience is a key part of their story.
Absolutely.
So knowing how crucial resilience is, the big question is,
Yeah.
how do we build it? How do we actually cultivate this capacity within ourselves?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
It's not just like flipping a switch, is it?
No, definitely not.
It's more about, shifting your mindset and building some practical habits over time.
Okay, so where do we even begin?
I think a good place to start is by reframing how we think about failure. Instead of seeing it as this final judgment on your abilities,
Yeah.
what if we looked at it as valuable feedback?
Okay, so instead of beating ourselves up
Yes.
with that inner critic that's telling us, I failed, I'm not good enough,
Exactly.
we can ask, what can I learn from this? What can I do differently next time?
Yes, exactly. That little shift
Mm-hmm.
from I failed to I learned can be so powerful.
It really can.
Because it takes something negative and turns it into an opportunity to grow.
Like a reframe.
Yeah, exactly. And it helps you ask yourself, what specific actions or decisions led to this result?
Yeah.
And what adjustments can I make for the future?
It takes the sting out a bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Another mindset shift you mentioned was focusing on growth rather than perfection.
Yes.
And this one really resonates with me.
I think it resonates with a lot of people.
Because so many of us get caught up in needing everything to be perfect.
Right. And that can be really paralyzing.
Totally. Like we're afraid to even try if it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah. And I think that pursuit of perfection can be a huge barrier to resilience.
Yeah.
Because if your goal is this unattainable flawlessness,
Yeah.
any little misstep can feel like a catastrophe.
Right.
But when you shift to a growth mindset, you're prioritizing progress and learning over absolute perfection.
So it's about the journey.
Exactly. It's like someone with a fixed mindset might say, I'm just not good at this.
Yeah.
But someone with a growth mindset will say, this is difficult, but I can get better with practice and effort.
So it's about acknowledging that we're all constantly learning and improving.
Exactly. And that setbacks are just part of that process.
Yeah. And the third mindset shift is about the way we talk to ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a friend
Yeah.
who's going through a rough patch.
Like, think about what you would say to your best friend if they were struggling with something.
Right.
You wouldn't be harsh or judgmental, would you?
Of course not.
So why do we do that to ourselves?
It's so true.
We need to practice self-compassion.
Yeah.
Which means acknowledging the difficulty of the situation.
Yeah.
Offering yourself understanding and acceptance, and reminding yourself that everyone makes mistakes.
It's a normal human experience.
Exactly. It's not just you.
Okay, so these mindset shifts make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But beyond how we think, are there also tangible things we can do
Oh, for sure.
in our daily lives to actually strengthen our resilience?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
While mindset is definitely a key part of it,
Right.
it needs to be supported by concrete actions.
So what kind of actions are we talking about?
Well, one really effective tool is journaling.
Okay.
Taking some time each day to just write about your experiences, both the good and the bad, can really help you to process your emotions in a healthy way.
I can see that.
And it can also help you identify any recurring patterns
Oh, yeah.
in how you respond to challenges.
You can kind of see what your go-to move is.
Exactly. And that can give you some really valuable self-awareness.
It's like you're creating a record of your journey,
Yeah, and of your reactions.
which could be really helpful to look back on.
Definitely.
What else can we do?
Well, cultivating gratitude is another incredibly powerful practice.
Okay.
Just taking a few minutes each day to list even just 3 things you're grateful for can really shift your focus to the positive,
Yeah.
even when you're going through a tough time.
That's so important.
It is, because it helps you to build up this reservoir of positive emotion
Yeah.
that you can draw on when things get difficult.
So it's like you're training your brain to see the good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it can make a huge difference.
What about our connections with other people?
Oh, that's a big one.
Do they play a role in resilience?
Absolutely. I think having a strong support system is crucial for resilience.
Yep.
Talking to trusted friends, family members, or mentors during tough times can give you so much emotional support.
Yeah.
They can offer different perspectives that you might not have considered, and they can remind you that you're not alone.
Yeah, that feeling of isolation can be really tough when you're dealing with a setback.
It can be so isolating.
But knowing that you have people who care about you and are there for you,
It makes a huge difference.
it does.
Sharing the burden can really lighten the load.
What about the role of rest and self-care?
Oh, that's so important.
How does that fit into the picture?
Well, resilience isn't an unlimited resource.
Right. We can't just keep pushing and pushing.
Exactly. When you're physically and mentally exhausted,
Yeah.
your ability to cope with stress and bounce back from challenges is going to be much lower.
So taking care of our physical well-being is actually taking care of our mental and emotional strength.
Exactly. It's all connected.
Okay. And the last tool you mentioned was focusing on small wins.
Yes,
Can you tell me more about that?
of course. So when you've experienced a big setback,
Yeah.
it's easy to feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, like the path forward just seems impossible.
Exactly. But setting small, manageable goals can be a really effective way to start rebuilding your confidence and momentum.
Oh, so it's about breaking it down into smaller steps.
Exactly, because each small victory,
Yeah.
no matter how insignificant it might seem,
Right.
creates this sense of progress,
Yeah.
and it reinforces your belief in your ability to move forward.
It's about taking those baby steps.
Exactly. Even if they feel tiny, they're still moving you in the right direction.
This has been so eye-opening.
I'm glad to hear that.
You know, it's one thing to talk about resilience as this abstract idea,
Yeah,
but these practical tools really make it feel achievable.
I hope so.
You know, thinking back on my own experiences with setbacks, I vividly remember this one time I was working on this project that I was so passionate about. I had poured my heart and soul into it for months,
Wow.
and then it just completely fell apart.
Oh, no.
It was devastating.
I bet.
All that effort, all those late nights, all the belief I had in it, just gone.
It's so tough when that happens.
It was, and I just felt completely crushed.
Yeah.
It's those moments when you just want to give up and never try again. It really is.
Yeah.
I started questioning everything.
Like what?
My skills.
Yeah.
My judgment.
Yeah.
Even whether I should be doing this at all.
It's so easy to spiral like that.
It is. I really had to fight that urge to just walk away.
It sounds like you dug deep.
I did. And looking back now, as painful as it was,
Yeah.
that experience taught me so much.
What did you learn?
I learned the importance of having contingency plans
Oh, that's a good one.
and the value of getting different perspectives throughout the process.
It's easy to get tunnel vision
It is.
when you're so focused on something.
I also gained a much deeper understanding of my own limitations and my strengths.
That's so valuable.
It was through that failure that I actually discovered a strength and resourcefulness I didn't know I had.
That's incredible.
It's like the failure kind of forced me to grow.
Yeah. I think that's a common thread in a lot of stories about resilience. It's often through facing and overcoming challenges that we discover what we're truly capable of.
We build that inner fortitude.
Exactly.
And I think it's so important for you, the listener,
Yes.
to really hear
Yeah.
whatever setback you're facing right now, you have that same capacity for resilience within you.
You do. It might not feel like it right now,
Right.
but it's there.
And if you're going through something difficult right now, remember, this isn't the end of your story.
Yeah.
It's just a chapter.
A chapter that has the potential to lead to an incredible comeback.
I love that.
Because resilience isn't some magical quality
Right.
that some people have and others don't.
It's not like you're born with it or you're not.
Exactly. It's a skill.
Like any other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can develop it and strengthen it over time
Wow.
through consistent effort and practice.
So what does that look like?
It's about taking that next step, even if it feels uncertain.
Mm-hmm.
It's about allowing yourself to bounce back one brave decision at a time.
And with each challenge you overcome, you become stronger and wiser.
Absolutely. You gain a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you.
And that accumulated experience becomes such a valuable asset.
It does. It helps you navigate future challenges with more confidence and skill.
So if you're feeling knocked down right now,
Yeah,
take a deep breath.
you've got this.
Remember, You have inherent strength.
You do.
You are gaining wisdom through this very experience.
And you have the potential to be unstoppable.
Maybe even share what you've learned today with someone in your life
Oh, yeah.
who might need a little encouragement.
That's a great idea. Sharing knowledge and support can really make a difference.
Keep going. Keep growing. And remember, you are far more resilient than you think.
You absolutely are.
Thanks for listening.
It was great being here.
We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
Bye.